Hello everyone, this is Namita Basnotra and this video is on proportion. In this video, I'll explain you what do we mean by proportion and what is the concept of proportion and is there any formula of proportion? So let's begin. What is proportion? Proportion is an equation which defines that two given ratios are equivalent to each other. So what does that mean? Proportion says that two ratios or two fractions, right, are equal. So that means 1/3 is equal to 2/6. Now you know this is a concept of equivalent fractions, and how do we express this in ratios? This is what we will be learning in this video. So here you see that 1/3 here, can you see this is 1/3 is equal to 2/6, right? So the ratios are same, and if the ratios are same and the value is same, so that means they are in proportion. So 1/3 is proportionate to 2/6. So in proportion, we take two ratios and we compare these ratios and we try to find them whether they are equal or they are not equal. So let's take a very interesting example over here. So when the shapes are in proportion, the relative sizes are same. So I've taken two drawings over here. The first one, two drawings of dogs. In the first drawing, if you see, the head length is 10 and the body length is 20 units, okay? And the second drawing, the head length is of 15 units and the body length is of 30 units. So here we can see the ratios of the head length to the body length are the same and in both the drawings. So I can represent this by 10/20, which is equal to 15/30. When you reduce this, what will you get? Yes, you're right, you'll get 1/2. So now can you tell me, if I draw another drawing of a dog and I keep the head length as 30 units, then what will be the body length? Now this is for you. You can write the answers in the chat box. Imagine if we make the head too long or too short, will that look good or bad? It's time now we should learn how to represent a proportion. So in order to represent a proportion, either put the sign of equality, that is equal to, between the two ratios, or put a double colon like this. So double colon is something like this. Okay, so you write ratio 1 here and you write your ratio 2 here, and in between this double colon means this is ratio 1 is proportionate to ratio 2. So thus 3, 4, 9 and 12 are in proportion and can be expressed as 3:4 equals 9:12, or we can also say it like 3:4 is proportionate to, so can you see the symbol, 9:12. So let's consider the following example to understand the concept of proportion. So here there are two groups of the children. This is group 1 and this is group 2, and we are finding the ratios in both the groups, and then we will conclude whether the ratios are equal or not, or we will conclude whether the ratios are in proportion or not. In the first group, what is the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls? In the group of 8 boys and 12 girls. So how do we do this? The required ratio is number of boys upon number of girls, which is equal to 8/12. So when we reduce this, we get 2/3. And let's do the second, where what is the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls in another group of 18 boys and 27 girls. So let's find the ratios. That's easy. So the required ratio is number of boys upon number of girls, which is equal to 18/27. And now we remove the common factors, which is 9 over here, and my answer is 2/3. So we have two fractions here, 2/3, 2/3. So it is observed here that in the above explanation, that is group 1 and group 2, the ratios are 8/12 and 18/27, and these are equal. When we reduce them, we are getting 2/3 and 2/3. So that means 8/12 is equal to 18/27, or we can express this in the form of ratios and proportion. So we can say the ratio 8:12 is proportionate to 18:27. So now we know that such an equality of two ratios is called a proportion. The numbers here 8, 12, 18 and 27 that are used in the proportion are called its terms. Okay, so 8 is the first term, 12 is the second term, 18 is the third term, and 27 is the fourth term. So you please see here, 8 first term, 12 is the second term, 18 is the third term, and 27 is the fourth term. Okay, of the proportion 8 is to 12, and which is in proportion to 18 is to 27. So what is the proportion formula? Let us assume that in the proportion, the two ratios are A is to B and C is to D. Is if we have a fraction A upon B, which is equal to C upon D, so we can represent it in the form of ratios and proportions. So we would write A is to B is proportionate to C is to D, right? And we also know that there are 4 terms in it. Okay, so the two terms here, that is B and C here, can you see these two terms here with the arrow? So these two terms are called mean terms, and the two terms which are outside, that is A and D, so these two terms are known as extreme terms. So let me just represent and show you in the fraction also. So here, if you can see, I have grouped them A and D together. So these group is of extreme terms, and C and B here, this is a group of mean terms. Now let me introduce the formula of proportions. So the formula of proportion is product of means is equal to product of extremes. So what does that mean? Now we know these are the mean terms here, C and B. And what are the extreme terms? A and D, if we look at the fraction. And also in the proportion, you can see the mean terms are B and C here, and the extreme terms are A and D. So when you multiply A and D, you get the product of extremes, like here. Okay, and when you multiply B and C, you get the product of means, like here. So I've shown you here also, and I've shown you here also. And when we put them together, equate them together, we get our formula, and the formula is product of means is equal to product of extremes, and you're going to use it at various situations in your life and solve so many things using this formula. So let me take one example here, very interesting one. And it is like my mother's recipe to make pancakes is to use 2 eggs to make 20 pancakes. Okay. Now, how many eggs will I need to make 100 pancakes? So here, let's learn how to do this. Smaller amount is 2 and the pancakes is 20. Let me just assume that the larger amount is x, and it gives me 100 pancakes because I need 100 pancakes, but I don't know how many eggs are required. If we write the unknown number in the numerator, and then we can solve this as any other equation. So that means what I'm saying is, if you write x as a numerator and form a proportion and use a proportion formula, we can solve this easily. So let's look at it. So how do we go about it? So what we will write, x upon 100, right? So we have made this as our first ratio, which is equal to, that is 2 upon 20. Okay, now we have to solve this. When you solve this, you can use a balancing method. So I multiply 100 on both the sides, I reduce 100, so I get simply x is equal to 200 upon 20, which gives me 10. So that means we need 10 eggs to make 100 pancakes. So children, do you know that the international paper sizes, that is A3, A4, A5, that you use for printing, they all have the same proportion. So I want that if you can look around and look for such things which are around you and they are in proportion. So this is Namita Basnotra, and I'll be coming up with more videos on proportion, and we'll take some examples and some questions and learn how to solve these. Till then, bye-bye.